Oh, babe, I can't believe you moved back into this house. We should have sold it when Dad died.
Lovely Molly, I really enjoyed it. It's a sort of really intriguing, very dark film. You must be sort of thrilled with it as the creator of it.
Yeah, you know, it was something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. Some kind of possession type movie. It didn't come out exactly the way I thought it was going to come out, but I think it came out better. You know, I kind of went down the the road of possession movies, and then I kind of made a big turn and kind of try to find something new, something unique to say about it. So it was very inspired. I've been wanting to make a kind of this kind of movie since I saw The Exorcist when I was little, and you know, I think that. I made the film that I wanted to make. I think it's dark, and I didn't want to pull any punches, and I think the performances are brilliant, and you know, I'm pretty proud of it.
It's incredibly dark, but did you get a sense of that on set when you were filming that this was how dark it would be, or was that all sort of to do with lighting and to do with the score implemented?
No, it was, I mean, you know, I definitely wanted to make it dark. I mean, the script was kind of, you know, was pretty harsh and very surprising at times, you know, I made sure that before people got involved, they read the script and they were like, do you know what you're getting yourself into? Because this is not, you know, this is definitely not a family film. Especially with Gretchen, you know, who plays Lovely Molly. You know, she has, you know, unbelievable courage. And I didn't know her that well when we started working together, but there was something about her that just made me trust her and made me believe in the fact that she was going to be able to go places that the script needed her to go. And so yeah, there was on the set, you know, I mean, I try to kind of counterbalance the darkness of the script with, you know, a pretty light atmosphere on the set. Like, I'm constantly joking, and there's no yelling, and it's very as low stress as a film set can be. But when it comes down to it, you know, everybody knew what they were, you know, what they were doing. So when it came down to actually, you know, getting the stuff on tape, on film, you know, it was very much business as usual. But yeah, so to me, it's like you have to kind of give a little bit of relief, because then it becomes just really depressing, and you're kind of get stuck into the material, and I think it shows in the film.
Neighborhood kids. You gonna be all right, Mrs. Reynolds?
And some of the relief comes in the title. The word lovely couldn't be more contradictory to the actual film itself. What made you sort of put that into the title?
Well, the film was actually called The Possession, and it was always a temp title for me, because I thought it was just too basic, too generic. And then we were accepted into Toronto Film Festival, and we found out like that week that another film was coming out the following year called The Possession. They had changed the name to The Possession. So we were scrambling to find a new title, and we kind of stumbled on the Lovely Molly. We had used the song in the movie, and it had come up as like, hey, we could call this movie Lovely Molly, and it was just kind of a joke and stuff. But the more we kind of went down the list and dwindled the list down of names, we realized that Lovely Molly was a pretty appropriate name. It's not as, it doesn't describe as much as something like The Possession, but it does give you, you know, if Lovely Molly had a picture, you know, it could be a kid's film, but the fact that, you know, the poster looks very evil, and she looks very demented in the poster, and you can see it's a horror movie from, you know, the Blair Witch guy. It kind of gives you, okay, it's not going to be so lovely, but to us it was kind of the perfect title for it.
How do you find having that Blair Witch tag to sort of follow you in your sort of directing sort of career? Do you think that adds quite a lot of pressure to you as a filmmaker, knowing that you made such a sort of avant-garde, sort of very sort of quite historical movie, really?
Yeah, I mean, look, it definitely is intimidating, you know, but at the same time, you know, I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for that movie. So, you know, it's been mostly a blessing, but sort of a curse, and really a kind of a self-imposed curse, because there's just so much pressure, you know. When Blair Witch came out, I was 30 years old, and I had been a struggling filmmaker, you know, pretty much my entire life. So there was, you know, for the first time ever, I knew that I was going to make a film that a lot of people were going to see. You know, before you break out in the film industry, when you're making a movie, you're hoping that a lot of people will see it, but most of the time it just ends up being your family and friends who see it. You know, you do a screening, you know, at a local theater, or you know, at your house. But once you make the leap where you're like, okay, my next film is going to be seen by millions of people, and it's going to be, you know, criticized, and it's going to be analyzed. There is kind of a weird thing that happens in your brain, at least in my mind, and it was part of the reason why I didn't make a movie for 5 or 6 years after Blair Witch. First of all, I had made a ridiculous amount of money off Blair Witch, so I didn't have the financial need to make any more films. But also, it was a lot of just kind of growing up and kind of coming to terms with the fact that I was never going to make another Blair Witch. You know, Blair Witch was just like, you know, catching lightning in a bottle. You know, no matter how successful any of my other films, you know, came out, you know, after Blair Witch, I was never going to be the Blair Witch. You know, I was always going to be the Blair Witch guy. I was always going to be compared to this film. So, like I said, it's mostly been a blessing for me, because I wouldn't have a career without it. But there was a lot of things that I had to work out, and even to this day, I'm still working out because I'm the Blair Witch guy.
But what Blair Witch did do was really popularise the found footage sort of subgenre, and there is some found footage in Lovely Molly. What made you sort of implement that?
Well, the idea was that my co-writer Jamie Nash came up with, was the idea of somebody videotaping themselves going through a demonic possession, and I took it in a little bit of a different direction. But it was, you know, it was the perfect setup for a found footage movie. But I didn't want to do a found footage movie. I felt that you know, found footage, I love the genre, and actually I just shot a found footage movie. We wrapped about a month and a half ago. But the thing about the found footage is that you have to constantly justify the idea of videotaping yourself. And it gets kind of ridiculous sometimes, and you just have to accept it. That's just part of the, you know, it's part of the subgenre, part of, you know, it's something we struggle with on Blair Witch. Like, why the hell are they still videotaping themselves, you know? And with Molly, I knew that, you know, I wanted to be as real and genuine as possible, and I didn't want the audience to feel at all like, my God, why are they videotaping this argument? And how did she get the camera into that apartment? And why would she take the camera to her sister's apartment? So I kind of wanted the best of both worlds, because I love the power of first-person cinema, you know, of found footage. So, you know, I kind of took a page from, you know, I was talking earlier about from Hitchcock, Rear Window, all the binocular stuff of him looking through the window. And I kind of switched it with a video camera, and I said, you know, it could work. It could work that you can go from one to the other. And so it was kind of an experiment for me. I think it was pretty effective, you know, and I like the fact that, you know, if I'd like to do it again, you know, in other films where use a little bit of that found footage kind of feeling, but also not be trapped by the limitations of that style.
He's alive.